Welcome to Massive Passive Cash Flow, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Welcome back to the Massive Passive Cash Flow podcast. I'm Gary Wilson, your host. I'm so glad you're back listening to the show. We got an awesome guest today, Albie Stasek. Albie and I work with each other. I've known him for now 4 years, and he's right down the road in competitive and awesome Cleveland, Ohio. So Albie, welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you taking your time. I know how busy you are, and I know how lucky we are to have you on today.
I'm happy to do it, Gary. You're one of the better leaders in our organization. I love working with leaders and action takers. So happy to be here.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And go Cavs. And I guess I'll go ahead and make the stretch for spring training. And go Browns. Go Indians. And it's fun because you guys got a great town.
All of them.
Yeah. Big sports town, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I can get there in 2 hours. And plus, both my kids went to John Carroll. I don't know if I ever told you that. They both went to John Carroll University.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Both graduates. So in any case, let's jump right into it, man. I could spend all day talking with you, and I'm glad I actually, so everybody listening, this is really cool for me because I actually get to meet with Albie every single week. And we're part of a big organization called the Honey Badger Group. And I tell you, let Albie talk about us. Albie, take us back to the beginning. Like you probably started off as a traditional agent in Cleveland. And I'm guessing at one point you thought, maybe I'll build a team, maybe I'll build a brokerage. But what was the shift in mindset? What was the inspiration when you really got into the growth phase of your business?
So I started my team when I had joined Remax back in 2007. And prior to that, I was with an independent broker as an agent and a Century 21 as an agent prior to that. When I looked at my journey that began with Remax and starting my team is like my rebirth sort of into the industry again, because to be honest with you, I almost quit when I left that last indie brokerage. I wasn't sure I wanted to continue in real estate at the time. And then I discovered I'm not really hireable. So this is about the only option unless I wanted to take a real job and do that whole thing and hourly, or maybe it would have been a laborer. Prior to this, I was actually a over the road truck driver. So I knew I could fall back on that, but did not want to. Props to all the truck drivers out there. And it's a super tough job. And I just have a lot of respect for them because I did that for a long time and didn't want to go back into that direction. So, I really did some soul searching, went back in, dug into it head first, and to try to, like I said, well, if I'm going to do this, I want to be a top producing agent with a small team that covers a lot of my expenses, because Remax was expensive at the time. I chose the monthly route. Didn't even know there was another route, but I chose that monthly payment desk fee route. And it was tough. I went deep into debt. As you know, in 2007, that was right when, the market was starting to change very quickly. And it happened. It felt like it happened very quickly. Like I didn't see it coming, but next thing you know, we were end of 07, beginning of 08. We were in short sales, foreclosures everywhere. Economy was in a really bad shape, and I was struggling to pay my mortgage payment, and it was awful. Lost all my money. End of 2009, I met Michael and Jay, Mike Reese, Jay Kinder Reese. I, at the time, had kind of recovered slightly, not anywhere full recovery, but I was starting to get a little bit of momentum, still way deep in debt, but managed to move a little bit of money off of one credit card onto another credit card so I could afford their coaching. And I hired them in 2010 is right when my business really, I started becoming a student and learning, how to get from point A to point B quicker instead of, all the alternate routes, but just try to get to the straight line. And I met them, and I never had a desire to leave Remax. I never had a desire to open my own brokerage, but I got involved in their mastermind. and their mastermind group started becoming a family to me. And my experience, I have nothing bad to say about Remax, but the culture there wasn't a very sharing culture. Everyone was out for themselves. I didn't have my colleagues helping me and opening up their playbooks. And in this mastermind, everyone's opening up their playbooks. Now, we had to pay about $25,000 a year to be part of that mastermind, but it was the best money I ever spent and invested in my business because I learned how to become a marketer, which I know you're a great marketer yourself. And when I made that shift from, okay, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a marketer now who happens to sell real estate, it's when everything started changing. I just looked at my business differently. I invested in it differently. And I started seeing the results. My business, after I met those guys, doubled every single year. I started coaching for them as one of their coaches. And then eventually, it was 2013, I opened my own independent brokerage and following a lot of their steps because everyone had left either Caldwell Banker, Jay was a Caldwell Banker, Michael was Keller Williams. A lot of the agents in our mastermind were all going independent because we didn't see the value in a traditional brokerage, so to speak, when we can get our own broker's license and not have to pay all those franchise fees. So we felt that was the best path to go at the time. And I believe at the time it was.
Yeah.
And then 2016, I had my best year. We cracked the 1.5 million in GCI mark with a very small team of 10 or 12 agents I had.
Nice.
And then 2017, I lost my two top sales agents who are also very close friends, Christy and Sue. And I had finally listened to my coach, Cliff Freeman, who was trying to tell me about this new startup company that was publicly traded, but it was a penny stock called EXP Realty. And I'm like, I couldn't even really remember the name. I'm like, tell me the name. Yeah. What is that? And I was blowing Cliff off for months. He wanted me to look at it. And I guess at the moment I was feeling enough pain with the loss of my two top agents, which amounted to $400,000 in annual income to my bottom line, walking out the door to Keller Williams to make me, basically open my eyes up and say, maybe there's a better way. And maybe this is it, but I doubted it. I didn't think it was. I was actually trying to get him off my back. I'm like, fine, I'll listen to this just to get off my back. But I thought maybe he had something because he's always been a good mentor to me. And I've always, he was the one that coached me up. He's my first real estate coach. So I owed him that. And I'm glad I did. The rest is kind of history.
Yeah. It was interesting. I got to meet him too. And of course, I've been able to meet, Jay and Michael. And the funny thing is I was approached also in 2017 and I flew down. I was so busy traveling all over. I was training inside KW. I was one of the trainers traveling all over the US and Canada. And my specialty was training agents on how to work with real estate investors. So the real model was I taught them how to invest and then they could be able to walk the walk and talk the talk. And I showed them how to configure all of that knowledge and skill and talent in terms of marketing to a patch, or I guess to attract other investors. So the cool thing was for the agent is they got the two things. They got to learn how to invest, one stream of income, to learn how to work with investors, another stream of income. So I love that. In any case, I got invited to the conference, EXP conference. It was Fort Lauderdale. And instead of me going for the whole thing, I thought I'm going to fly in that one night. I'll go to the dinner and then I'll fly out the next morning. I'll just have enough time just to get the juice, just the thing. So I'll go in there and I see Brent Gove. I'm like, Brent, what are you doing here? Because Brent and I he was up in Roseville, I think it was, Sacramento.
Yeah.
And pretty big in that office. And also he was briefly a member of a mastermind group I was in called Go Bunnies. It's an awesome group. They got a men's group and a women's group.
Yeah.
And I should have listened then. I met Glenn Sanford personally, but it was small. And I'm making good money, man. I'm traveling around teaching and making good money. I got the life. I'm staying in Ritz-Carlton, eating, really nice food every day.
Yeah.
And life was good, man. I didn't have enough interest to listen and learn. And that didn't happen until 2020. And finally, Dana Truman, who's a good friend of mine, he's my sponsor. He knew exactly what to say to me because he's one of my best friends, and he knew how to get me to open up my stupid Irish skull. So I'm sorry, Irish people, Ron. We're not still just saying our skulls are thick. He knew how to
I got an Irish
crack
one
that
too.
nut.
Yeah.
There you go. And when he showed me, he said, "Look," he said, you're training people, you can teach people, you have great success. I mean, my personal success and I built a team of 111 agents in KW in 3 states, and it was the first time it ever been done. It was very unusual because most teams were very localized, and here I
Yeah.
am spreading across the middle Atlantic. So when he showed me how I could apply that to a model that wasn't a franchise model. This is what the key here. Franchise model, if you want to grow across the country, it's going to take you years. You got to go literally office by office, region by region,
Yeah.
And here you plug into the spinal column, right? It's an organization model. It's different. You plug into that spinal column, all of a sudden you can go worldwide instantaneously. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm just everybody. So this we call this edition of the podcast, by the way, the industry leader edition. So if you are a leader, if you're running a brokerage, if you're running a team, if you're an influencer, I know what you're doing because I did it myself. You can grow. Called linear growth. You can do it. It's the classic age-old process, or you can do it this way. This is like on steroids. It's like putting high octane in a car, or better yet, what's the nitrous? You ever have a car that had a nitrous tank and you hit that go button? This is what it's like, guys. I mean, I'm not knocking any other company because they're all good in their own way. They all got great things that they add to bring to the table. They're good at something. Everybody is, or they wouldn't be in existence. We just got to be realistic about that. And I respect them and appreciate them. The difference here is you can apply what your superpower is, whatever it is, whatever your strength is, on a massive exponential scale, virtually right away. I can't even, and I'm not even exaggerating, right? Instantaneous growth, you know. So before, well, I had 78 people in my downline at the last company in 8 years. Here, in it's been 4 year anniversary, and I'm slow. Mine, I'm looked like 180 or something like that. But I don't want you to go hung up on that. What I want you to focus on is you bring something to the table like Albie did, like I did. You got something you're special at because you have a business. You're a business minded person. Um, that's what this is all. And I'm not really here to talk about it, promote it so much as I am to give you some gold nuggets to listen to. So Albie, let's go back a little bit. Um, can you think of a business plan or a marketing plan that you developed on your own? A lot of us develop these by getting bits and pieces of things we learned over the years. Was there one thing you can think of to help you get out of the muck and the mud and back into the clear blue sky? Maybe I think it was around 2016. You said you hit that 1.5 million. And by the way, guys, if you know Cleveland, 1.5 million in Cleveland, that's a big deal. It's in LA, San Francisco. You guys are lucky because you land a couple of deals. You're there. One deal here. Albie, we got to work at it, man. Really hard. So, was there one thing, Albie, you can point to that really was a catalyst for you as far as growth goes? And getting business.
Well, I mean, having a clear plan, every year we commit to doing what's called a clarity report. It's something that is offered to all of our members with Honey Badger Nation for free. But it's an exercise. Basically, it's a straight line strategic plan. It's a business planning exercise and process that you can go through that gets you clear on where you're going.
Mhm.
It's not just goals, but it also includes, making sure that you have, why are you doing this? Your purpose is dialed in so you can lead people. Your vision's clear because people are attracted to someone with a strong vision. And you can say, hey, I want to sell 300 homes a year. And that's okay, but that's your goal, not theirs. You have to have a vision that they're going to really get behind and get excited about. So it sort of started with me really learning how to grow a business the right way. We grew several businesses using the Clarity Report as kind of a foundation to build it from. You know, once you have your
Yeah.
goal set for let's say your 3 year way out, you break those down to yearly. After you get your yearly, we're talking quarterly, all the way down to what are we doing daily? What are the daily activities that we're doing to move the needle?
Yeah.
And of course, if you're going to grow an organization like you have over 100 agents, you got to make sure everyone's paddling in the right direction. And again, that's where the vision and that clarity comes in. So I'd say first, you got to be clear on where you're going.
Did you know that you can participate in class every Monday? We call it Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, with me and dozens of other investor agents from around the country, in fact, the world. Every Monday, totally free. No selling, no recruiting, just straight up education on anything and everything in real estate. And we have a lot of good guests coming on once or twice a month, bringing in expertise on subjects like how to buy a house with crypto. Okay. How about them apples? What about AI? How's AI affecting our business? How about the metaverse, blockchain processing? We're already using it in title work. So come on to Monday Night Live, be ready to take notes and ask questions because it's live and engaging and you get to participate by asking questions and meeting others. So we'll see you there. Go to GaryRealEstateWithGaryWilson.com, click on the resource tab, drop down, and you'll see Monday Night Live. And in there, you can see one of the most recent classes. But more importantly, you can register for class as many as you want going up to like the end of the year, I believe. So in any case, do that. We'll see you on Monday Night Live. Look forward to meeting you in person. Take care.
Yeah. And you know, what your business model then looks like, which kind of leans into, I was an independent broker. My goal was to put less time on a, annual basis into my business so I could have more free time, which is what everyone says they get into in real estate. And they soon find out they have the opposite of that. They actually, they're the 9 to 5, when you start selling 50, 60 homes, 70 homes, 80 homes a year. That's beyond a full-time 9 to 5 job. And sometimes I was wishing that I had a full-time 9 to 5 versus that, because I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, not home for dinner. That's the reality. And so my goal was to scale that, get my time back. In my little mind, my first goal was to get the weekends off because my kids were little at the time. I didn't want to miss those days. Their mom was a hairstylist at the time, so she worked on the weekends, and it was just me and the boys. So the first goal in building my business was to get those days back, and I did.
Yeah,
I did because I started putting a very well-trained group who were bought into my vision, and that I could lead them to selling lots of homes. They were making a really good living. I was making a decent living. Nothing to scream home about by any means, but I lived very, very meek. I had a very, very low lifestyle as far as expenses and whatnot, a low expense lifestyle. So it didn't take much for me to get to that point. But then it came time that, I needed to scale it, which is what made me look at EXP is, I got to about 12 agents. I had a decision. I could have just kept going down the road of an independent broker, recruiting and competing with Keller Williams, Howard Hanna in my market's very strong, Remax, Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
Or I could look at this new model and see the exponential possibilities of the growth. And we bet right. I was never a recruiter, Gary. When I looked at the model, the first thing that popped into my head is that, man, I think I've been doing a good job of leading for the last few years, but I don't have agents lining up, sending me all their friends and co-brokes to come join the brokerage. It was all on me, 100%. Because I'll give you an example. Dan Walters was one of my top agents. It would not affect Dan Walters whatsoever in his present time income or his future income if I went from 12 agents to 24 or from 24 to 50 or to 80 or how many. That wouldn't. In fact, your agents and a small independent team or brokerage want you to stay small because not because they don't want success for you, but they want you. They joined you, that leader. And so scaling that is the trickiest thing, and getting past that part was tricky. And so I saw the model. I saw the exponential effect of how revenue share could help expand my organization. Just in Cleveland, Ohio. I didn't think it was going to blow up to different states and do what it did, to be honest. I just
Yeah.
thought it would be great to grow my little brokerage in Cleveland and expand it. And it went bigger than that. So it was
Yeah.
a call.
It's interesting. You mentioned a couple of really key things. And I know I launched my independent brokerage. You're going to laugh at this, Albie. It was the first week of January of 2008. People thought I was a lunatic. They're like, "Are you nuts, man?" Because I was an agent
Yeah.
for another company. I'm doing great. I mean, I've got a lot of properties, rental properties, but I'm an entrepreneur. I need that freedom. But here's what I found out. I actually grew pretty rapidly. Now we grew rapidly because if you think about the transactions at the time, there's a lot of foreclosures, man, and we were dealing with a lot of investors. So what happened is I landed a couple of bank deals, not because I went and asked for them. They actually found me. They looked at my transaction volume because they have broker metrics. They look at all our performance. So real quick tip for everybody out here. We're going to hit another correction. We can't tell you when. We just know what's going to happen. So mathematical certainty. You're going to be contacted from asset managers want you to do what's called a BPO. I'm not going to tell you what to do or not to do. I will just tell you BPOs aren't going to make you money. Listings are going to make you money. So you got to sell a lot of properties to attract the banks that have listings to sell. That's what happened to me. So now we got these investors, we got the listings, and we just took off like a rocket. So very quickly, I had 50 agents. But here's the lesson here. Coldwell Banker, Remax, KW, they're all sending people and flying them in to come see me and buy my company and mimic my model. And I kept saying no. And they were being nice at first and they kept raising the price. And I'm thinking, ooh, this is getting pretty juicy. But what I found out, Albie, was when I never went along with them, they were no longer friendly. I was a competitor. When you get 50 agents, it's this magical threshold, and you're a competitor in their marketplace and they don't want you. They want to kill you. Yes,
Yeah.
literally kill your brand. So I eventually did a merger, and I still get paid for that. I struck the best deal of the century. I found out later. I kept saying no, and I wasn't the money wasn't the thing. It was the brand and the client base. And this sounds nuts, but I had 187 listings at the time of the merger. 132 were mine personally. So
Wow.
in any case, the company I went with said we're going to pay you for a lot of years. And you'll get this other thing called profit share for a lot more years. And I still get all of that. But in any case, some more lessons I want to point out here, guys. Everybody listening, if you're driving, don't write this down. You can get home later, look at the show notes, and this will all be in the show notes. But Albie mentioned early on that when he got coaching, his business took off. And I just want to validate that. The same thing happened to me. I was with Craig Proctor. I knew Jay and Michael way back then. I wasn't in their coaching, but I got other coaches. I joined masterminds that cost $100,000. But you know what? They made me, or it empowered me and informed me, instructed me, and raised my level of thinking to a whole new level where I was turning hundred thousands in the millions. That's what coaching does for you, right? Then later on, Albie talked about his clarity report. Now, Albie? Is this something we can share with people? Is that something they can get on a website, or we can talk about towards the end? I just want to, I like to
Yeah.
give people things. But clarity report, guys, getting clarity on what it is you want to accomplish. I know you've got a brokerage right now, or you've got a team, or maybe you got a fledgling training program. I did too, and so did Jay and Michael. You know, there is a pathway to follow. Success leaves clues, and these guys lead the way. I'm telling you, I meet with them weekly, and I wouldn't be where I am without them. So that clarity report is important. Having leadership that's been where you want to go, it lifts your level of thinking. So your level of thinking now got you where you are now. To get to where you want to be tomorrow, you've got to raise your level of thinking to that level today. It's hard to articulate. It's hard to grasp, but I promise you, it's a very real thing, and it happens when you align yourself with some really awesome people. Shelby, we got a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's happening right now with the marketplace. Everybody's talking about NAR and the big lawsuit. Quite frankly, I'm really not that concerned about it. Maybe I'm an oddball. Maybe I should be, but to me, we keep going out there every day, wake up, hit the ground running. We keep swinging the bat every day. people are still going to buy and sell homes. I mean, what's your take on all this? What can you tell people, you know?
I mean, real estate agents don't control the market. We don't control supply and demand. The market controls that.
Mhm.
And I would say that the reason the reason that I'm not, you know, thinking that the sky's going to fall is because the agents who dig in, who get the proper training, who treat this business, as a profession, not a hobby, are going to be completely fine. We've been coaching agents on what's called a CHBA, the Certified Home Buying Advisor course, since 2011, when Michael and Jay wrote that course. And it's specifically designed to articulate your value as a buyer's agent to the point, to a buyer, to a potential client of yours that you would work with, that they would want to run red lights to work with you. Now, most buyers agents don't do a presentation prior to working with them. They meet them from a lead online. They run out, show them a house, or maybe they meet them in an open house, and then you can make a client by making a friend. But now you actually have to have some skills. You have to be able to articulate your value to that buyer, and they have to agree to your fee. But we've been having that same conversation where they have to agree to our fee up front since 2011, 2012, when we started teaching this course. Every one of the agents that worked from my team, then my brokerage, and then again, when I moved the brokerage into EXP, my real estate team, all went through this course multiple times. We've had live boot camps on the course. So for agents that are a student of this business, treat it like a profession, they're not going to have a problem. The problem will be with the people who don't treat it like a profession, the ones who've been fly by night, the ones who don't go to the trainings, the ones who, wing it pretty much. Because let's face it, in an up market, you can wing it and still make $100,000 winging it. Even a part-timer, I've had part-timers watching them make six figures while they have another full-time job, winging it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just can't, you're not going to be able to do that any longer, which is the good part. I guess my concern, if I had to pick a concern, it would also go right back to your average onesie twosie agent who isn't really in this, for the long haul. They're sticking one toe in the water. They're not jumping in both feet. So they're not going to these trainings. They're not learning these things. And because they're not, and that's their mindset, that could end up getting in the way of success for others because of the difference in communications that this person who's a professional is going to have with their potential client, and this person who doesn't have the training is going to have a conversation. And we have no control over how these conversations are going to go, but we know that the professionals are going to have clear, concise conversations that's going to articulate their value, what they're going to be able to do for that buyer, the money they're going to be able to save them, the pitfalls that they're going to help them avoid through the process of buying a property to make sure they're getting it at the best terms, best price, and you actually get the home. And the other ones, if they're going to choose to wing it, I think we will start to see some, more lawsuits, they're going to come by from it. The ones that aren't going to learn it, they're going to get themselves in the hot water and bounce out, which in theory should make more room for more transactions for the professionals. We'll see how this all, how it all shakes out. Right now, we still have a tremendous demand for housing right now. When that changes or when will it change, I don't know. But right now we're focused on today. We're focused on tomorrow. And just making sure that our agents, which, going back to the training at Honey Badger Nation, we offer those trainings, not just to our group. We're actually opening those trainings up to anyone that's an agent at EXP Realty because we believe in it that much. Jay made that call. I was super excited that he made that call to open it up outside of our group to train agents. Look, the truth of it is we have, over millions of agents. It's better to have our agent body highly trained versus not trained at all.
Yes.
And so even the competition, it's better to have them trained than not trained at all.
Yeah.
And so it'll make for a better professional image for us moving forward as real estate professionals, and it'll
Yeah.
make for smoother transactions,
I
Uh,
agree. Yeah.
so yeah.
Rising tide lifts all ships,
Yes, sir.
That's our motto. And so now for everybody out there that's not already in the organization, is there anything they can look at to kind of dabble and check it out, like a Facebook page, a website they can grab stuff off of? How can people reach out and learn more about the Honey Badger Nation,
Yeah, come on.
NAEA, and the
Yeah, they
yeah,
can go to honeybadgernation.com and
okay,
we have a lot of our live trainings, the links to those where they can subscribe and go in and stick their nose in and give it a shot and see what you think. We have some of the best coaches in the world teaching on a weekly basis. There's no charge for it.
yeah,
So I would say dip in. If you're humble, you're hungry to grow your business, and you have a good brain on you, you want to learn,
yeah,
you're a learner, then hop in and watch, participate, and I believe you're going to pick up some ahas to grow your business. We've
yeah,
worked on this for a long time. We've coached thousands and thousands of agents, many of
yeah,
which we've helped double or triple their business, through the coaching, lead generation, and funnel building that we teach. So come on in, take
yeah,
a peek, and say hi.
yeah. There was a famous quote you just reminded me of, and I Don. It was he was talking about John Madden, the former coach of the Raiders. This is back when the Raiders were in Oakland, and he said, some going to win, some going to lose. Good time, bad. Madden does not have the blues. But the logic is, and the lesson is in this economy, you've got this going on with NAR. You know, I would say learn about it, put it aside, and do what you got to do, which is learn all you can learn. Get up every morning, hit the ground running, keep swinging the bat, and you got to decide: are you going to be a winner or a loser? Because you have the choice in the matter. And the way you become a winner is to hang around the winners, right? Go visit honeybadger.com, check it out, get some information. You podcast. You'll find out how to get a hold of me and Albie. There's ways you can reach us, but you got to do the research, and we're not going to spoon feed you. You got to show us what you got. Come do the research. Google us. Look online. We're happy to talk to you. We got ahead. I can tell. Albie will say the same thing. None of us got ahead on our own. Lord knows we definitely had help. Albie got coaching. I got coaching. We all did. Every single person I know who succeeds, and there's no exceptions. Every one of them has coaching. They make the effort. They make the stretch. And I did the same thing early on, man. I was stretched to the limit. But you know what? It's what it took to get my thinking at the next level. So, Albie, thanks for joining us, man. This has been awesome.
Thanks for
I
having me
know
on, Gary.
you got it, brother.
I
And everybody
appreciate
listening,
you.
oh, you got it. I appreciate you too, man. And I appreciate you listening. God bless you and your families. And we will see you on the next massive passive cash flow podcast. Remember, this is a special edition. This is a industry leader edition. You can seek it out specifically just to hear people like Albie. I've got others coming down the road. We'll see you on the next show.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cash Flow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.